Good morning, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Today. This is Matthew Thomas, joined alongside the survivalist, Linda Kay. I understand it was some pretty crazy elements in your neck of the woods over the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was crazy. Thunderstorm came through, but from my window, just because I have trees and bushes out like by my patio, it was reminiscent just watching this wind. Like it was almost pitch black out at like 4:30 in the afternoon. Just all of a sudden it
Oh,
went dark, and then I see the wind, the rain, okay, and then the wind. I mean, we don't have hurricanes in Wisconsin, but it sure looked like it for the couple of minutes that it was, and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. So it was insane. It was a storm for, the rain, was going maybe like 20 minutes or so, but that heavy portion was maybe like 5, maybe 10. I didn't think much of it other than, all right, well, it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm gonna and in the day work wise, I'm gonna go work out. That's usually what I do after work. I grab my gym bag and I go outside, and I'm like, holy crap, all the names are out of there, or on the in the lot, because we had branches fall, trees uprooted, cars damaged. I was really in shock. I literally, my mind was like, work's done, let's go work out, and then I see that. It was rather shocking to see, and just thankfully all of my neighbors, and from what I understand, the surrounding areas, I didn't hear of anybody really getting hurt, but obviously some damage to some vehicles there. And I mean, I don't want to say like I'm lucky, but my neighbor did say, first thing she said to me was, "You're lucky because the trees
oh,
fell all around me, but it didn't. I mean, it did not fall in my car. I just had leaves and twigs and all that on my car. So that was insane. But
oh my goodness. Well, you said it wasn't a hurricane, because you guys don't get hurricanes, but maybe you just witnessed like some new like meteorological event that's yet to be named. Maybe that was like a because they're finding new species of animals and stuff all the time. So like we don't know everything about this world. Maybe you witnessed some type of storm that's never ever happened before. Maybe that was a brand new meteorological event.
yeah, because it wasn't a tornado. It was a storm, but it wasn't a normal thunder and lightning kind of storm. This past winter, I did drive through something I've never heard of, and living in Wisconsin, it was called a squall. So
Hmm.
perhaps this is something new, but once again, thankfully, my neighbors were not hurt. I'm not aware of anybody in the surrounding areas hurt from that storm as well, but I will say, as thank you so much for stepping in so quickly to help cover yesterday morning, because I was still out of power for almost an entire day. So, and
So
it's
I
also
know
90 degrees today in Milwaukee.
I
So,
I know you've had a lot going on, but have you had time to catch up on Monday night's pose down?
I'm sorry.
Monday night's pose down. That was the main event of WWE
Ah,
Raw. It was a pose down between Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory in the
I
main
thought you
event
meant
segment.
between you and Meathead.
Oh no, that's coming up later. That's coming up
Okay.
whenever we can get together again. But yeah, it was that was your main event of Raw. So I told Meathead yesterday morning that hey, I'm of course not happy that you had that that weather event, but if me and you have to do an impromptu show, I'm glad I get the pose down show because there was a lot to unpack there. There was a lot to talk about.
Oh, why, thank you again. But whether you're running from the storm or if you're doing a pose down, I have something in mind you could be wearing.
I have no idea what that would be. What would you wear in if you're trying to seek shelter?
That was actually me yesterday from the rain, because I had on my wonderful collar and elbow windbreaker, which protects me from the rain because it's waterproof. If you want to be protected from the storm, or if you want to do a pose down and look comfortable yet fashionable in the latest and greatest in wrestling street fashions, make sure to go to collarandelbowbrand.com. And to save a little money, save that little extra cash, you can always use promo code Linda K. That's LINDAKAY to save 10% off your order.
Have we discussed the collar and elbow brand umbrella before? I think that needs to be revisited because I think there would be a market for it.
Absolutely. I mean, I just went through something where I could have had an umbrella.
Although I think if anybody can create a much more functional umbrella, I think it's Al. I'm not a fan of umbrellas in general, just because the production value of an umbrella, of having to open it up and then having to close it, and what always gets me is the closing part. I always end up, whatever protection it does provide, it always gets lost at the end because I always forget to like take it away from me when I close it. So, if he could maybe make an umbrella that's a little bit more, technologically advanced, that I wouldn't mind carrying around, because just your average, run of the mill umbrella, I'm typically not a big fan of.
It needs something with durability that won't flip up in a
Mhm.
crazy storm, like what
It,
I've
it
been through yesterday.
exactly, and that's the problem with your average umbrella. Yeah, it'll flip up, and then you just feel silly. Okay, like at that point, you've got something that is, like you're in a worse spot than when you started. Okay, because now you've got this apparatus that you're holding above your head that's malfunctioning and actually not providing anything because it's upward. So now it's just a problem. Yeah, I uh, I really think that needs to be revisited, and I mean he could potentially change the world with that.
Yeah. So let's put a news here for the collar and elbow umbrellas.
Well, it's unfortunately time to get away from our wonderful sponsor and to talk about some wrestling news, and some pretty serious wrestling news. As we covered yesterday morning, the developing situation with Jeff Hardy and his arrest from, believe that would have been Sunday night, early Monday morning, if I'm correct. Tony Khan did release a statement yesterday, and as opposed to paraphrase or to sum up, I'm just going to read the statement right here directly from Tony Khan. Tony Khan, quote: "We were able to resume contact with Jeff Hardy this afternoon. AEW does not condone Jeff's alleged behavior. We've made it clear to Jeff that we'll assist him in getting treatment for substance abuse issues, which he has indicated that he's open to receiving. In the interim, he is suspended without pay, and he can only return to AEW upon successfully completing treatment and maintaining his sobriety. If your loved one needs help, please reach out to SAMSH. I'm sorry, SAMHSA's National Helpline, 1-800-662-HELP. Tony Khan, President and CEO, All Elite Wrestling. So we figured as much was coming. That's the official notification from Tony Khan, the official statement. Linda, I don't believe we've had a chance to talk to you since the developing news with Jeff Hardy a couple of days ago. Just wanted to get your thoughts as we unpack this statement and the situation in general.
You had sent a text revealing that you were the first one that presented the news to me. The first that I learned of it, and I just said to you, man, it's just so heartbreaking, just because we love Jeff Hardy, we really, really do, and we're just definitely rooting for him, and just him being in the area most recently, it just really hits harder. So I, so many people have mentioned this, and it was the big news of the week, the start of the week, I should say. So just hoping the best for Jeff, and just always, I hope it's something that can be overcome.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of support behind him to get him through this, and we love Jeff Hardy, or I just, speaking for me, I love Jeff Hardy. So let's hope that it's something to get through successfully and maintain.
Absolutely. Well, now we'll shift gears and recap our NXT 2.0 from last night. And for a variety of reasons that were very pertinent to the show, this was a taped episode. And you'll see why this comes into play a little bit later. And if you listen to yesterday's podcast, that would be, or I guess maybe it was 2 days ago the news broke. I can't remember when the news on old Two Dimes broke, but it's been here within the last few days. So Two Dimes will factor into the show a little while later. But the show actually opened up with an NXT tag team match between Malik Blade and Idris Enofe going up against the Creed brothers. It was the Creed brothers that retained the titles here to open the show. However, we were not done with Blade and Enofe. They would come back a little bit later in the show in a segment that I actually think might be heading somewhere. But Linda, your thoughts on this opening match? Any surprise that the Creed brothers retained last night?
No, I definitely felt the Creed brothers would retain, but I did like the sportsmanship that we saw at the end of the match. As we saw the week prior, both teams shaking hands and showing support for one another. So that was great to see. I mean, both teams, great physicality. They look great. I definitely hope there is something more with Idris and Malik Blade, because
Mhm.
they have something there. And I know they've been having the funny ha shenanigans, but I mean, I don't want to jump too far ahead, because if we're trying to go in chronological order of the NXT from last night, I see that shift is a coming.
Second match in would be Tiffany Stratton going up against Fallon Henley. I go back to the fact I think Tiffany Stratton is an absolute, even though she didn't win the breakout tournament, is a breakout star there. She, however, would not have a great night. Fallon Henley with the victory. However, this was after interference from Wendy Chu, who you saw on her bouncy ball. Was that a bouncy ball, a Swiss ball? Like what was the technical definition? I'm trying to remember.
I forget what Vic Joseph said, but I mean, it technically is a bouncy ball when there's like a handle on it, right? And then
Yeah, there was a handle, and that's why, yeah, because I guess you had to have the handle to hold on. So it's not like your traditional like Swiss ball that you'd see at a gym. This was actually
that
an,
was,
an
I'm gonna
apparatus
try.
made for riding.
Sorry, I just had a visual. I gotta try that tomorrow with the chat.
Oh, that'd be great. Okay, so little side note here, Linda, have you ever seen the? Oh my goodness, I can't think of the. Was it Swerved? Was that the hidden camera show on the WWE Network? One of the first original
Yeah.
network series. Did you ever see the episode with Big E as a personal trainer?
No, I did not.
Please, when you get a chance, go back and watch that. Absolute comedic gold. It was a comedy. It was a comedy show, and they had hidden cameras, and so Big E was basically this personal trainer, and I imagine it was like a free session or something the gym gave away. But I mean, Big E was just doing all this over the top stuff. I think there was a section of it where the dude has an exercise ball and Big E's on one, and they're just bouncing back and forth, and I mean, it was, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that again. That was definitely, anybody who has not seen that, worth going out of your way and watching, or if you've seen it, it's worth watching again.
I will definitely put that on my list, Matthew.
Absolutely. We would have Wes Lee looking strong, picking up a victory against Zion Quinn. And the segment that you and I had been waiting for, I'm interested to get your takeaway. There wasn't as much of a reveal as I thought there was going to be. Joe Gacy's dyads were in action, and Linda, they wrestled in their hoods. They never removed. They wrestled in what we've seen them in, which I guess is a work of takes some talent, but no victory, no reveal. The dyads with the victory here. I will say this: what I loved about their style, if you notice this, when they tagged in and out, it was not a traditional tag. It literally was one dyad just gently placing his hand on the others.
Yeah. I was thinking of druids, because I know that's what you said, and I remember us saying it's similar. The dyad druids. Okay. Yeah, I was really thinking there was going to be a reveal, but there's not. It will happen one day, I'm pretty sure. I still feel it could still be grizzled young veterans. I did think about the size and the height. I don't know that for a fact. That was just my what do you say, that my hypothesis.
Yes, your hypotheses. That's a lot of the hypotheses when you're watching NXT. You gotta, if there's one thing about NXT 2.0, you have really got to strongly implore the scientific method. I mean, that's the only way to watch it.
Yeah. You know what I will say too? I like this unique style. It is something different, but did you not think, just watching that, like in the hood and the robe, that it kind of reminded you of like Scream, like when the killer would run around? It just made me think about that. I don't know if anybody else thought that. I love horror movies, so that just came to mind. But
So
I can't wait for the reveal. Let's put it that way.
Scream wrestling. What you're saying is one of the dyads is David Arquette.
Yes. Wouldn't that be tremendous?
Precisely the direction we're going. Another segment I thought was fairly tremendous was we had a Tony D'Angelo promo with Tony and his family, and his family's gotten a little bit bigger. We had Legado del Fantasma up there. I thought this worked. I kind of like where they're going with this. We're seeing it play out each week. We're going to get to it a little bit later, the developments from last night, but he was interrupted by Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams to set up a future North American title match between Tony D and Carmelo Hayes. This would also set up a match for a little bit later in the show as well for Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams going up against Stax and Two Dimes, who is suspended, but he was not suspended when this was taped. So that's why everything was a little bit askew last night.
Yeah, wait, is Two Dimes suspended or released? I guess I don't know for a fact which it is.
Well, I guess we'll have to go back and listen to the show we did yesterday. I think it was a release, if I'm not mistaken. But
I did see his tweet, so I'll just chime in and say that was a really professional. I want to say positive, but yeah, like a positive outlook, accepting what happened, accepting the fault that he had that got him to be, whether it's suspended or released. So good for him. I mean, he's a young talent, bright star, and I think putting out a statement like that will help him get further once, because he's still doing his thing, getting up there in the wrestling ranks. So
I just spoke with a source, and apparently he has in fact been released. So it's a good thing to I've got my sources here close by in the newsroom just to confirm, because that's what we like to do. We like to check and double check. So
fact checkers.
Yeah. So Troy Two Dimes Donovan has been released from NXT. So we'll have to figure out, the thing of it is, though, it's going to be a little bit harder to replace Two Dimes than it would be a one of the dyads, because like the dyads are just under a hood, the possibilities are endless, but it'll be interesting to see where they go to with that. So I want to get to what would end up being, I think, the segment or the segment of the night, because this would kind of start one way and end in a little bit different. We had seen a little bit of milling around backstage in the old NXT 2.0 kitchen. That's where the action goes on, Linda. That's where matches get made. That's where feud gets started. I think that's probably where Dexter Lumis and Indy probably met for the first time, was back there in the NXT kitchen. A lot of stuff goes on in the kitchen.
I will say, for parties, is the kitchen not the place that everybody congregates in anyway? So it's real life right in front of us,
because you don't have to commit to anything. Okay, so you're not sitting on a piece of furniture. You've got something to lean on. You see them around the island a lot there, around the counter. So that's kind of NXT just being true to life there. A little bit of a back and forth in the kitchen. We'd see Cameron Grimes and Braun exchange pleasantries, if you want to call it that, and then we had Duke Hudson and Braun. I guess this segment actually started with Grimes kind of sulking his way through the kitchen. However, we would get an interaction with Braun Breaker and Duke Hudson that would result in a match for last night. Breaker going up against Duke Hudson. I guess Braun Breaker trying to avenge his. Was it a disqualification? It was a disqualification, wasn't it? I think he had a DQ loss against Duke Hudson a few weeks ago, back when they were setting up the whole storyline with Gacy, and he couldn't, handle his temper. Anyway, Braun Breaker makes short work of Duke Hudson. He blows through him in a squash match. The real magic, in my opinion, happened here. He's interrupted by Cameron Grimes. Now, based on what we saw backstage, are we looking at a Cameron Grimes heel turn? I don't know, but it was much more. It wasn't as cut and dry as that. I thought this was an outstanding promo, and this, I think, actually is this is the evolution of Cameron Grimes here. Basically, the promo centered around Braun Breaker's father, And we had continuity from the earlier storyline pre-WrestleMania with Cameron Grimes, the storyline, not storyline, but his motivation for going after that North American title was to make his deceased father proud. And we had a lot of back and forth here, concerning Breaker's father. And at one point, Grimes makes the comment, everybody knows your father's name. Nobody knew my father's name. We've got some real life stuff here that is very, very interesting. And regardless of where Grimes goes with his tactics, as far as where the character goes, we saw last night Grimes's motivation for this next level of Cameron Grimes. And after this segment was done, it's official. Braun Breaker and Cameron Grimes at the Great American Bash for the NXT title. I am very, very interested in this development.
Yeah, you said right there, we got to see Cameron Grimes' motivation. I like how you put that. Bringing, again, real life into the situation, but seeing this other side of Cameron Grimes, like we already kind of were getting that. We saw him express everything about his father. He won at Takeover, the ladder match, and then we just had a weird shift in the turn from the crowd, just really turning on him, and that I'm sure affects him in real life too. This is still a character he's portraying on TV, but it's just bringing more real life into it, but just presenting it in a unique way. As you said, the evolution, definitely agree with that. We've seen so many sides of Cameron Grimes in just the past year and a half. Now we're getting this other one where it's bringing real life, the crowd turning on him, and now him maybe just turning on the crowd, if you will. We're not sure, because like you said, it's just kind of like a hint of him turning another leaf, but definitely a different leaf than what we've seen from him in the past.
Absolutely. And we alluded to it earlier. We would actually see a backstage segment between Malik Blade and Idris Enofe with Grimes. They actually, after losing their opening match, they were going to leave early to hit up the clubs. And Cameron Grimes basically told them that, they just shouldn't assume that they were going to get another chance and that they had all the talent in the world, but they're not hungry. So whether this is a further display of the new Cameron Grimes or potentially this is a stable in the making, I don't know. But I'm intrigued by, wherever this backstage segment leads, hopefully somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be something where Grimes is necessarily going to be starting a new faction and they're going to be joining in. I think this is him bringing out a different side of some of the talents down at NXT, where I don't think they even necessarily have to go back to saying, we thank Cameron Grimes for pushing us, a certain way. I just think it's kind of going to show, I think it'll help Cameron Grimes himself, like him pushing others, motivating others, therefore motivating himself, and it just showing a lot of success in the end, like for him too. I mean, like him facing Braun Breaker, man, that like in 2 weeks or so, I'm not too sure if it's something that Braun Breaker might retain that title, having this shift here.
I think this Cameron Grimes as an NXT champion, to me, it's a much more interesting story than Breaker holding on to the title. The thing of it is, I feel like you can tell so many more stories with a champion Grimes. I think you can tell the Solo Sikoa story. I think you can tell I know people are lobbying for the Apollo Crews Braun Breaker because they're two big dudes, similar styles, but I don't think that's I think you can easily tell that story with Cameron as well too. And my goodness, with Raw, especially as thin as they've been recently, I don't think Breaker stays in NXT very, very long. And I mean, who knows? He might be called up to Raw to do a pose down at some point.
Yeah.
So
wearing that collar and elbow shirt. Huh?
Exactly. There was a little bit of posing going on with our new the debut of Giovanni Vinci last night. We'd seen the promos in the last few weeks, and very unique entrance. There was like a photograph was being taken. What I liked about the entrance was more so than anything was when they did the freeze frame, and like you could see where the entire crowd was freeze framed. Like wherever they
Yeah.
were, they decided to freeze it. That was kind of cool. Giovanni Vinci picking up the the win over Guru Raj in quick fashion. Here to just highlight Vinci. Your thoughts on this premiere, Linda?
Vinci, Giovanni
Yes.
Vinci. I liked it. I liked that unique entrance. I didn't realize there was to be a fourth screenshot or freeze frame. Not screenshot. Well, kind of freeze frame, but I liked it. It's another way to showcase him, repackage his character there down at NXT. But I liked it. What a great look. The quickness, the hard hitting physicality, even the finish with that power bomb in the end. I'm digging it. I think he could be. I know he's been on NXT for a while, but let's have him be the next it person, if you will, in the men's division.
There you go. The match we alluded to earlier, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams picking up the win against Stacks and Two Dimes here. This would happen after some botched interference by Legado del Fantasma. So just the families are just still trying to get on the same page and not quite able to.
Mm-hmm. I guess right now I'm just curious to see how it's going to be presented next week now that the recently promoted Two Dimes is no longer going to be with the D'Angelo family. Someone else steps in, or maybe, like you said, or we've said, with the D'Angelo family increased, growing after the last pay-per-view, that's a good thing for them, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you could kind of do that as a storyline where it's like Two Dimes has got to go away. And I mean, honestly, here's the thing: in the line of work they're supposedly in, you've got to write it off by Two Dimes going to prison, don't you?
Oh,
Like that's the only thing you can do. I mean, they're a freaking mob family. Linda, what they really need to do. D'Angelo needs to be obsessed that there's a rat in the group.
I was just gonna think that. I was thinking about Departed.
Oh
The
my
movie Departed,
goodness.
yeah.
Yes. That's exactly what's got to happen. D'Angelo's got to be paranoid. There's a rat in the group. I think we just booked it.
Yeah.
I
That
think
could be something that could have been stretched along or across a long period of time, but since it can't, it'll just be a quick, you found a rat. Okay.
exactly.
Funny hearing rat with wrestling terms too. We found
Yeah, I think I've heard the term before. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Our main event, Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Indy Hartwell going up against Toxic Attraction. Toxic Attraction actually taking the loss in the main event. Roxanne Perez with the pinfall victory, further setting us up towards, I think, Roxanne and Mandy probably coming up here. I would assume Bash at the Beach, not Bash at the Beach. My goodness, I'm getting my WCW pay-per-views mixed up. Great American Bash. There's a Bash in there somewhere.
Yeah. I loved Bash at the Beach. Club La Vila, right?
There you go. Yeah, that's really one I wish they would revive. Of all the WCW properties, here's my thing. Like, I would be perfectly content with WWE dropping the gimmick pay-per-views, the Hell in a Cell, keep Money in the Bank. I like Money in the Bank, but Hell in a Cell, TLC, and just give me some WCW heavyweights in there. Give me Bash at the Beach, give me Starrcade.
I want Hog Wild because
yes,
Sturgis.
go.
I live in the city of Harley Davidson.
Go back to Sturgis. That's exactly what they have to do. They've got. Can you imagine if they just put that pose down from 2 nights ago at Sturgis? you'd sell the place out. You hear all the engines revving.
Oh my goodness. God.
So those Hog Wilds. Wait a minute. There was like 1 or 2 years of Hog Wild and then like 1 or 2 years of Road Wild, right? Didn't they change the name at some point?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask Meathead. I know if anybody's gonna know, it's the man.
Oh yeah, he's
Twitter handle WCW Meathead.
Meathead is listening to this and just screaming at his listening device right now. Oh my goodness, if you haven't watched it in a while or you've never watched it, going back and watching those is very, very interesting because I mean, this is you talk about it's not really a papered crowd, but you've got a crowd that's probably not super interested in pro wrestling, that are they're kind of there for the rally, and they're kind of drunk, and they're kind of in a mood at times. Really interesting crowd in those old WCW pay-per-views. So yes, the WWE, if you're listening, please bring back Road/Hog Wild, and maybe bring back Rodman and Leno for a little tribute there.
Oh my God.
Well,
Oh,
we are.
Well, I'm sorry. That's such a. I did not feel that. Or predict we'd have a transition from those 6-women tag match discussing Hog Wild.
You know what? Maybe they need to add another person to each side, and maybe we need to see Karl Malone in the next 6-woman tag match.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's precisely what we need to do.
There too.
Well, there's no doubt we will be corrected on tomorrow's show by one WCW meathead about any WCW history we botched from the WCW historian himself. Until then, for Linda Kay, this is Matthew Thomas. We'll talk to you soon.